Go.
Okay. I'm here with Chad, one of our favorite phlebotomists, and he is going to talk us through blood culture collection.
Okay, so just some things to keep in mind when you're doing a blood culture. Typically they're ordered in two sets. One complete set is a aerobic and an anaerobic. These have to be collected from the same venipuncture site. And they have to be done through a venipuncture unless specifically ordered to be pulled through a line. When you're getting your supplies ready, there's two different kinds of aerobic blood cultures. Both have the blue writing and the blue top. This is your normal aerobic blood culture, and it has a blue cap. The other one has a gray cap, and it is the plus model, and it has extra things to counteract antibiotics. So if your patient has been on antibiotics within the last 2 weeks, you must use the aerobic that has the gray cap. And one thing you always want to keep in mind is that it is much better to stick your patient twice to start the whole collection over than to collect a contaminated specimen. So sterilization is key. And to that point, first you want to prepare your blood culture bottles. The very first thing you want to do is ensure that you're collecting the correct amount of volume. It has it right on the container that you need 8 to 10 milliliters of blood. And the only way to properly ensure that you're collecting the right amount is use your volumes on the side of the container as a measuring stick, as it's in increments of 5 milliliters. So you want to come from your meniscus line of the fluid, come up 5, 10 mils, and put you a mark. And do the same for your anaerobic. Come from meniscus line, 5, 10 mils, and place a mark. Then you want to sterilize your bottles. You want to take the cap off. Use a fresh, clean alcohol pad that cleans the top for at least 15 seconds. You want to make sure you put adequate pressure. That way you're getting down onto that rubber piece that's actually going to come in contact with your specimen. And then once you cleanse for 15 seconds, you want to get down on the neck. Then take a brand new clean alcohol pad and lay on top. Then do the same for your anaerobic. Remove the cap. Brand new alcohol pad. Cleanse for 15 seconds. And then down on there. Resting a brand new clean alcohol pad on top. To ensure that air cannot come in contact with the top of those surface, which is again going to come in contact with your actual blood specimen. And you always want to practice the best practices with collecting blood in general, but you must use a butterfly set. That ensures that there's not going to be any backflow of the additives in the blood culture bottles into your patient. You don't want to leave your tourniquets on for longer than a minute, so it's perfectly acceptable to tie your tourniquet, palpate for your vein, find your VP site that you wish to use, then untie your tourniquet. That way you can cleanse the proper amount of time with not having the tourniquet being on too long. To cleanse your site, you want to make sure you use ChloroPrep. And the proper way to use the ChloroPrep pads is remove them from the package, break the container, dab it on the skin until you can see it's visibly wet, and then scrub for 30 seconds. And these are only effective for a 2.5 by 2.5 inch square. So you don't want to over cleanse and make too large of an area because the ChloroPrep will not be as effective. And once you scrub for 30 seconds, you visually inspect your ChloroPrep, and if it is highly soiled or if the venipuncture site does not look clean enough, You should always get a new coil wrap and repeat the process until you are satisfied that it is properly sanitized. Now, if the skin is moist for any reason, that scrub time goes to a total of 2 minutes and the dry time of 1 minute. So once we have let the site completely air dry, making sure that no one fans it or blows on it, retie your tourniquet. And complete your venipuncture. When you anchor your vein, you want to make sure you don't get inside of the 2.5 inch by 2.5 inch square that you have cleansed. Make sure you come outside of the area, pull the skin tight. And the key thing is do not repalpate. If you have lost the vein and you feel the need to repalpate, you should restart the cleansing process all over again. Do not repalpate and then perform your venipuncture. Once you insert the needle, you just want to make sure you always collect your aerobic first. Remove the alcohol pad, and when you're inserting it into the hub, you want to make sure the hub does not, or the hub or anything else does not come in contact with the rubber stopper, because that's going to come in contact with your blood and could contaminate your sample. And then make sure that you're filling the blood up to the mark that you made on your bottle. That way you do not underfill it or overfill it. If you do either, the ratio of blood to additive will not be sufficient to actually grow the organisms that could be inside their specimen. And again, one thing you want to keep in mind is that if you are only successful on one bottle, you must start the whole process over again, because both bottles in one set has to come from the same venipuncture site. If 2 sets are ordered, they must come from different venipunctures,